The whisper began subtly, a soft insinuation in the quiet hours when sleep refused to claim me. It spoke of a hollowness I had long ignored, a space within that Michael's boundless love and our perfectly curated life couldn't quite fill. We had built something beautiful, a home, a future, a tapestry woven with shared dreams and silent understandings. Everyone envied us, they said we were the epitome of relationship goals. And I believed them mostly. Michael was kind, attentive, incredibly handsome. He remembered anniversaries, bought me thoughtful gifts, listened patiently to my rambling stories after a long day. What more could a woman ask for? It was a question I often posed to myself, especially when the whisper grew louder, a low thrum beneath the surface of our contentment. Our life together was a meticulously constructed masterpiece. Every piece fit, every color harmonized. Yet sometimes I felt like an exhibit, a carefully arranged display, rather than a living, breathing participant. The spontaneity that had once sparkled between us had dimmed, replaced by a comfortable routine. Our conversations became predictable, our nights together less adventurous, more obligatory. I loved Michael truly. I did, but it was a love that had settled into a quiet hum rather than a passionate roar. I found myself longing for something more, something undefined, something that stirred the depths of my soul again. Then David entered the frame. He was a new colleague at work, vibrant, irreverent, with eyes that crinkled at the corners when he laughed, and a mind that danced with ideas I had never considered. Our interactions started innocently enough. Lunch breaks shared jokes about office absurdities, discussions about art and philosophy. He saw things differently. He challenged my perspectives. He made me feel alive in a way I hadn't realized I was missing. He didn't know about Michael, or if he did, he certainly didn't act like it mattered. He treated me as if I was the most fascinating person in the room, as if my thoughts were revolutionary, my opinions profound. The line blurred so imperceptibly at first, a lingering touch on my arm, as he made a point, a shared glance that held a little too much meaning, a late-night message that extended beyond work-related topics into personal vulnerabilities. I told myself it was harmless, a friendship, a professional bond. But the truth was a persistent throb in my chest, a knowledge I refused to acknowledge. The thrill was undeniable, a potent cocktail of illicit excitement and burgeoning desire. My heart would pound when his name appeared on my phone, a sensation I hadn't experienced since the early days with Michael. And with that thrill came the first tendrils of guilt, a cold serpent coiling in my stomach. I started lying. Small lies at first about staying late at work, about meeting a friend for coffee. These tiny deceits were like pebbles thrown into a calm pond, each ripple expanding until they merged into a vast ocean of fabrication. My days became a delicate dance between two worlds. In one, I was Michael's devoted partner, a woman living a perfect life. In the other, I was Clara free, unburdened by expectations, exploring a new connection that promised an intoxicating liberation. The juxtaposition was exhilarating and terrifying. The moment it became physical was a blur of heightened senses and suppressed conscience. A late evening project, a shared bottle of wine, the soft glow of the city lights through the office window. His hand found mine, a spark, ignited, a barrier dissolved. There was no grand confession, no dramatic declaration. Just a silent understanding, a mutual surrender to the inevitable. The kiss was fervent, desperate, a taste of forbidden fruit. In that moment, all my carefully constructed defenses crumbled. The guilt was immediate, a crushing weight, but it was quickly overshadowed by a powerful surge of raw emotion I had forgotten existed. The affair began a clandestine existence, lived in stolen moments, hushed phone calls, and secretive encounters. Each lie I told Michael ate a little piece of my soul, but the euphoria I felt with David was a potent antidote, a temporary reprieve from the gnawing self-loathing. With David I felt seen, understood, validated. He celebrated my quirks, my ambitions, my vulnerabilities. He didn't try to fix me or change me, he simply appreciated me as I was. It was a stark contrast to the comfortable predictability with Michael, where I sometimes felt like a cherished possession rather than an equal partner. I became a master of deception. My schedule was a carefully crafted alibi. My phone was guarded like a precious secret. My emotions were compartmentalized, a practiced performance for Michael, a raw, unfiltered expression for David. I saw the love in Michael's eyes, and a sharp pang of shame would pierce through me. How could I do this to him? He deserved so much better than my deceitful heart. Yet the addiction to David's presence, to the way he made me feel, was too strong to break. It was a destructive cycle of guilt and gratification, a desperate attempt to fill the void within me that I couldn't articulate. The constant tension was exhausting. My sleep was fragmented, plagued by vivid dreams of exposure and confrontation. My appetite waned. My focus at work suffered. I was perpetually on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop, for my carefully constructed house of cards to collapse. I started to resent Michael not for anything he had done, but for being the unwitting victim of my betrayal, for making my deceit feel even more heinous. I resented David, too, for being the catalyst for disrupting my life, for making me choose. But mostly I resented myself for my weakness, for my selfishness, for my inability to be honest with either of them or with myself. There were moments of clarity when the enormity of my actions would hit me like a tidal wave. I would look at Michael, his unsuspecting face, his genuine smile, and a wave of nausea would wash over me. I contemplated ending things with David, confessing to Michael, trying to salvage what was left of my integrity. But the thought of losing David, of returning to the quiet emptiness I had tried to escape, was unbearable. And the thought of hurting Michael, of shattering his trust, of destroying our shared life, was equally agonizing. I was trapped in a self-made prison, oscillating between two worlds, each demanding a piece of me I couldn't afford to give. The discovery was less dramatic than I had always imagined it would be. No furious confrontation, no tearful confession wrung from me in a moment of weakness. It was a forgotten message on my old laptop, a casual glance by Michael, as he borrowed it for something. A name, a phrase, a snippet of a conversation that clearly spoke of intimacy, not friendship. The silence that followed was deafening, heavier than any scream. I walked into the living room to find him sitting there, the laptop still open on his lap, his face a mask of disbelief and profound hurt. His eyes met mine, and in them I saw the precise moment his world shattered. All the lies, all the carefully constructed fantasies evaporated in an instant. There was no need for explanation, for denial, for argument. The evidence was irrefutable. His voice, when he finally spoke, was barely a whisper, devoid of anger, just an aching brokenness. He asked me how I could do this to us. He asked me what I had been missing. He asked me if I ever truly loved him. I had no answers, only a choked sob that caught in my throat. The pain in his eyes was a mirror reflecting the ugliness of my own actions. It was a pain I had inflicted, a wound I had deliberately opened. The aftermath was brutal, a desolate landscape of shattered trust and broken promises. Michael moved out almost immediately. Our home, once a sanctuary of love, became a hollow shell filled with ghosts of what used to be. Our friends were shocked, their judgments whispered in hushed tones. My parents were devastated, struggling to understand how their daughter could be capable of such an act. David, after a brief period of awkward attempts to continue our relationship, eventually faded away, his fleeting passion unable to withstand the harsh glare of reality. He wasn't interested in the wreckage, just the thrill. I was left alone with the ruins of my life and the crushing weight of my choices. The emptiness I had once felt was now a gaping chasm, a direct consequence of my own destructive behavior. There was no joy, no thrill, only a profound regret that settled deep in my bones. I replayed every moment, every lie, every stolen kiss. I saw the ripple effect of my selfishness extending outwards, destroying everything it touched. I had chased an illusion, a fleeting spark of excitement, and in doing so, I had torched a lifetime of genuine love and trust. Learning to live with the consequences has been the hardest journey of my life. The self-forgiveness feels like an impossible task. I understand now that the void I felt wasn't something another person could fill. It was an internal void, a lack of self-awareness, a failure to communicate my true feelings within my existing relationship. I sought validation and excitement externally, when what I truly needed was introspection and courage. My betrayal was not just a betrayal of Michael, but a profound betrayal of myself, of the person I thought I was. Every day is a step towards understanding the root of my actions, not to excuse them, but to learn from them. The pain I caused is a constant reminder, a scar that may never fully heal. I lost Michael, and with him, I lost a part of myself I may never reclaim. The perfect life I once had was a facade built on unspoken needs and eventual deception. I am forced to confront the imperfect, messy reality of who I am and what I am capable of. There is no easy path to redemption, only a long, arduous journey of self-reflection and accountability. The whisper that started it all has been replaced by a deafening silence, a quiet truth I must now live with. It is a harsh truth, but it is mine.